The movie begins with a mysterious figure, cloaked and moving with purpose toward an unknown destination. Eventually, he arrives at a locker room, where he sheds his hood and changes into different attire. Later, we find him amidst the vibrant atmosphere of a dance club, where people revel in both dancing and occasional altercations. The scene then shifts to a quiet, deserted street, where the same man walks alone in contemplation. Upon returning home, he prepares a solitary dinner and eats quietly. This man, named Lucas, had been compelled to leave South Africa following the tragic loss of his wife. Now residing in his native Belgium, he lives with his daughter and works as a bouncer at a nightclub. After Lucas finishes his breakfast, he finds his daughter awake, quietly watching him from the living room. He warmly embraces her before escorting her to school. At her school, Lucas is informed by the principal that he has not paid his daughter's fees for the past week. He humbly requests an extension to settle the dues. Later, Lucas visits the grocery store to purchase essential items. Following this, he heads to the gym to engage in boxing exercises, recognizing the physical demands of his role as a bouncer. That evening, he arrives at his job, though his demeanor suggests he finds little enjoyment in it. During his shift, a young man, the son of a wealthy businessman, arrives at the club and begins behaving inappropriately with a girl. Lucas, vigilant in his duties, steps in and confronts the man, eventually escorting him forcefully out of the establishment. The heavily intoxicated man continues to create a disturbance, fueled by alcohol, and directs his aggression towards Lucas. Despite efforts from others to calm him down, his intoxicated state keeps him belligerent and unmanageable. Lucas attempts to restrain him, but the man, staggering in his drunkenness, loses his balance, falls hard, and hits his head, causing a severe injury that starts bleeding. Tragically, it later becomes known that the man has passed away. Witnessing the unfortunate turn of events, Lucas's friend advises him to leave the scene, assuring him that he will handle the aftermath. Disheartened and frustrated, Lucas complies and makes his way home, where he takes a long, contemplative shower. The following day, Lucas is visited by the same friend from the club. With a somber tone, the friend reveals that Lucas has been banned from returning to the club and that the police are actively searching for him. Despite the seriousness of the situation, Lucas remains resolute and unaffected by the news of the police pursuit. Lucas discusses his daughter's school fees with a knot of tension in his stomach, acutely aware of his recent job loss and uncertain how he'll manage to pay. His friend broaches the idea of a new bouncer position at a different club, and Lucas, desperate for a solution, agrees. Following the address provided, Lucas arrives outside the club and meets Great, the current manager. Inside, 3 bouncers are already stationed. Great's unexpected directive surprises Lucas. He instructs all 4 men to engage in a physical confrontation among themselves. The stakes are clear: the victor will earn the coveted bouncer position at the establishment. Lucas and the other bouncers reluctantly engage in a heated dispute. Amidst the brawl, one bouncer lands a particularly hard blow on Lucas. Driven by thoughts of his daughter, Lucas rises determinedly, summoning his strength to defeat each contender until he secures the coveted position at the bar. Meeting the club owner, Jane, Lucas is handed a sum of money. Grateful, Lucas promptly settles his daughter's overdue fees. However, as he heads home, he is intercepted by the police. They apprehend him and transport him to the station for interrogation. Facing an officer, Lucas steadfastly denies any wrongdoing, explaining the tragic accident involving the intoxicated man. The officer gravely informs Lucas that the deceased was no ordinary individual but the son of a powerful businessman with significant political ties. Under immense pressure from higher authorities, the officer reveals they are compelled to pursue charges against Lucas to appease influential figures. The policeman continues, disclosing that their primary target is Jane, the owner of the club where Lucas now works. Jane is suspected of running a significant counterfeit money operation, a case that has long frustrated law enforcement due to the lack of concrete evidence. Faced with mounting pressure to apprehend Jane, the officer sees Lucas as a potential link to gather the necessary evidence. Reluctantly, Lucas agrees to cooperate, understanding the gravity of the situation. The following day, while on duty at the club, Lucas notices a young woman heavily intoxicated and persistently insisting on leaving. Concerned for her safety, Lucas discusses the situation with Great, the manager. After deliberation, Lucas decides to entrust the girl with his car keys, instructing her to ensure the girl reaches home safely. After ensuring the intoxicated girl safely reaches her home, Lucas returns to his car, where he immediately contacts the policeman, providing a detailed account of the events. The officer instructs Lucas to gather more information about the girl and arranges a meeting with Jane for the following day. As Lucas sits in his car, processing the intense day, Jane suddenly ambushes him from behind, pressing a knife against his throat. Jane swiftly seizes Lucas's phone, scanning through it for any incriminating evidence. Among the contacts, he finds a number labeled with Lucas's daughter's name. Realizing the significance of this personal connection, Jane hesitates, contemplating his next move. In a surprising turn, Jane decides to trust Lucas, acknowledging the depth of Lucas's commitment to his daughter's well-being and his willingness to protect those in vulnerable situations. This unexpected alliance between Lucas and Jane marks a pivotal moment, potentially shifting the course of their intertwined fates amidst the unfolding complexities of the counterfeit money operation and impending police scrutiny. Jane, with Lucas in tow, escorts him to his business partner's residence. There, they meet Jane's associate, and Lucas finds himself immersed further in their clandestine dealings. Initially reluctant, Lucas asserts that he has no interest in becoming involved in their operations. Despite his firm stance, Jane engages him in a lengthy conversation, attempting to sway Lucas to reconsider. However, Lucas remains steadfast in his decision. On the journey back from the meeting, Jane shifts gears and begins probing into Lucas's personal life, particularly about his family. Lucas, opening up, reveals that he is a single father solely responsible for his daughter. Hearing this, Jane perceives Lucas as less of a threat and, in a gesture of goodwill, presents him with a car as a token of their newfound understanding. This unexpected gift from Jane serves as a symbol of their evolving relationship, blurring the lines between adversary and ally, and hinting at potential complexities yet to unfold in Lucas's journey. The next day, Lucas surprises his daughter with the car Jane gave him. Overjoyed, she eagerly accepts it, and they spend a delightful afternoon horse riding together. However, during their outing, Lucas overhears Jane's name mentioned in a conversation nearby. Concerned, he swiftly cuts short their outing and returns his daughter home. Upon arriving, Lucas receives an urgent call instructing him to meet Jane at a specified location. Before he can respond, he is intercepted by Great's associate, urgently beckoning him to another meeting spot. Racing to meet Great, Lucas discovers him embroiled in a tense negotiation. His apprehension turns to rage when he realizes that one of Great's men has kidnapped his daughter. Furious and desperate, Lucas confronts Great, his emotions raw and his threats visceral. He demands the safe return of his daughter, threatening dire consequences for both Great and Jane if any harm befalls her. Great, attempting to calm Lucas, assures him that his daughter will remain unharmed but insists that Lucas must undertake another task for him, a task that plunges Lucas deeper into a dangerous web of alliances and betrayals. Great, with Lucas reluctantly in tow, explains the grim details of his new task. Lucas must kidnap a specific individual. With little choice, Lucas acquiesces, his mind racing with fear and desperation. Great directs Lucas to a secluded location, outlining his instructions clearly: enter the building, eliminate any resistance, retrieve the target, and return him outside. Lucas follows the orders, steeling himself as he enters the premises where he encounters fierce opposition. Despite facing numerous adversaries, Lucas fights fiercely, eventually emerging victorious with the target in tow. He delivers the captured man to Great, who awaits outside. Overwhelmed by the ordeal and the danger his daughter was placed in, Lucas retrieves her and rushes home, consumed by fear and regret. Resolved to protect his daughter at all costs, Lucas makes a solemn decision to sever ties with law enforcement, knowing the perilous path he has chosen places them both in grave danger. Despite Lucas's resolve to distance himself from law enforcement, the police track him down at his home. Lucas, fearing for his daughter's safety, admits he can no longer cooperate, citing Jane's knowledge of his family as a critical threat. Unmoved by Lucas's plea, the officers resort to coercion, threatening to expose him to Jane if he refuses to comply. With no viable options left, Lucas reluctantly agrees to resume his dangerous role. Returning to the club, Lucas finds Jane already waiting. Jane offers apologies on behalf of Great and hands Lucas a sum of money, explaining the situation bluntly. The man they kidnapped had betrayed Jane's business partner, jeopardizing their counterfeit currency enterprise. Jane reveals that this betrayal has inadvertently benefited him, allowing his illicit operations to persist and thrive. Caught in a web of deceit and coercion, Lucas grapples with the moral implications of his actions, torn between protecting his daughter and succumbing to the demands of powerful and unscrupulous individuals like Jane. Also present, as Lucas attempts to remove the man from the car, they unexpectedly turn hostile, assaulting him. In a split-second decision driven by survival instinct, Lucas abandons the man and flees in his car, narrowly escaping a barrage of gunfire that severely damages his vehicle. Despite the harrowing ordeal, Lucas manages to safeguard himself and Lisa. Seeking refuge and reassurance, Lucas rushes to Jane, who quickly calms Lisa's trembling nerves and arranges for her to be driven away to safety. Lucas wastes no time in contacting the police, divulging every detail of the treacherous events that have unfolded. Fearing for Lisa's safety, Lucas decides to take proactive measures, relocating her to his friend's residence to shield her from potential harm. Lucas grapples with the unsettling realization that Jane's growing trust may not be entirely genuine, fearing that any hint of doubt could lead to dire consequences for Lisa. Determined to protect his daughter at all costs, Lucas makes the difficult choice to keep her away from home, grappling with the weight of his decision amidst the ever-present threat looming over their lives. As Lucas returns from safely relocating his daughter, he unexpectedly encounters Jane along the way. Jane, seated in his car, strikes up a conversation with Lucas, emphasizing the trust he has developed in him. Jane reveals that Lisa, whom Lucas previously met, is his business partner involved in their counterfeit currency operations. Concerned about her safety and well-being, Jane earnestly asks Lucas to look after Lisa, recognizing Lucas's loyalty and reliability. Lucas agrees and escorts Lisa to where Leia is staying. In their conversation, Lucas learns that Lisa never willingly participated in the illicit activities but was coerced into it. Moved by her plight, Lucas vows to help her escape this dangerous predicament. Touched by Lucas's sincerity and resolve, Lisa requests to be dropped off at another location where she hopes to find safety and distance herself from the criminal enterprise. Lucas, determined to honor his promise and protect those in need, agrees to Lisa's request, driving her to the specified destination. With each decision, Lucas navigates deeper into the perilous world of deceit and crime, driven by a steadfast commitment to safeguarding those endangered by the very forces he now finds himself entangled with. Leia requests to be dropped off at the location where she and Jane print counterfeit currency notes. Shortly after Lucas leaves her there, the police raid the premises and arrest her. When Lucas hears about Leia's arrest, he rushes to the police station, pleading with the officers to release her. After much persuasion, the police officer reluctantly agrees, and Leia is set free. Upon meeting Lucas again, Leia initially reacts with anger upon realizing that Lucas's involvement with the police. However, Lucas calmly explains the situation, assuring her of his intentions to help her break free from their criminal activities. Eventually, Leia begins to trust Lucas and agrees to work with him to find a way out of their dangerous circumstances. Relieved but wary, Lucas returns home, only to find Jane waiting for him. Jane wastes no time in escorting Lucas to meet his partner, the individual who had initially been reluctant to involve Lucas in their operations. This encounter marks a pivotal moment as Lucas navigates deeper into the intricate web of deceit and danger that surrounds him, torn between his desire to protect his daughter and his growing entanglement with Jane and his criminal associates. As Jane suspects the man of betraying them to the police, he violently beats him before taking Lucas to their primary counterfeit printing location. Inside, Lucas witnesses Jane and Lisa engrossed in producing a large batch of fake currency, unaware of Jane's sinister plan to eliminate him afterward. Just as Jane prepares to execute Lucas, a sudden police raid interrupts their deadly scheme. Shocked by the sudden turn of events, Jane reacts swiftly, pulling out a gun and firing at Lucas, wounding him gravely. In the chaos that ensues, the police swiftly retaliate, fatally shooting Jane in defense of Lucas. However, the shocking twist unfolds further as one of the officers turns to Leia and coldly guns her down. It becomes clear that the policeman's true motive was never about justice but rather seizing control of the counterfeit money operation. He had manipulated Lucas into gathering vital information on Jane and Lisa, intending all along to eliminate them and take their place. In the aftermath of the deadly confrontation, Lucas lies wounded, grappling with the devastating betrayal and violence that have unfolded before him. The once obscure world of counterfeit currency has led to an unforeseen and tragic conclusion, leaving Lucas to confront the harsh reality of his unwitting role in the deadly game of deceit and greed. In a desperate bid for survival, Lucas confronts the corrupt policeman who orchestrated the deadly ambush. With quick thinking and the aid of his nearby allies, Lucas manages to outgun the officer, turning the tables and eliminating the immediate threat. In a tense exchange, Lucas neutralizes the remaining police presence, seizing control of a jeep and racing back to his daughter's home. The film concludes with a poignant scene as Lucas finally reunites with his daughter, their emotional reunion underscored by the harrowing events they've endured.
Remember to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more movies like this.